Go live. All right, make sure I check that box, close that window, and we should be. What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexia Investor, and what up? However, is everyone doing? Looks like everything is a-okay. Alan, Rob, what's up, my dudes? Can you guys give me a thumbs up if audio is okay? I was messing with some of the settings. I've kind of messed with the I think it was you, Alan, try to tell me mess with my white balance. But with this Logitech, it's supposed to be like a 1080p camera. It's a pretty good camera. That's fine. And you can skip the ad. I don't care. That doesn't matter. This is not my livelihood. This is for fun. Let's see here. Let me get this up and going. So let's. All right. Is it totally buy mode? Is this working? Yes, there it is. It is popping up. We have a insane earnings week. So let me just slap this over here on the screen here to kind of start going through what we're looking at this coming week. It's going to be insane. It's literally, we have Tesla tomorrow on a Monday, Logitech, AGMC, that's kind of like a mortgage broker, I believe, or some kind of a dealer in that. UPS, GE, 3M, Raytheon, Waste Management. You know I love my waste management. Starbucks, Teladoc, Kathy Woodstock has been heavily invested in that. Visa, see how that's doing. Alphabet, aka Google, Microsoft, AMD, Apple. Insane day just on that alone. Then we of course have BA, Shopify, Pfizer, Marijuana, Tilray, Mickey D's. Great goes great with Tilray. Also goes great with Spotify. Like you see the ongoing thing here. Shopify, not Spotify. You also have Spotify later. You have Bristol Myers, Thermo Fisher, Generac. Generac I think is going to be sleeper. Just look out for that one. I really feel that one could pop because of people able to invest in their house, and a lot of people want to get that Generac in their home, that if they're able to afford it, to be able to power their house with their solar and so forth. Facebook, of course, you know them. Ford, you'll see how they're doing. There shouldn't be too much probably regarding around the F1 Lightning truck there. PayPal, we know you love it. QCOM as well. That's been China. That's going to be an interesting one. ServiceNow, always one that always gets me. Land Research, pretty much going to be playing into Qualcomm and AMD kind of news. We also have MasterCard, Amazon, Pinterest, U.S. Steel, Twilio, Skyworks Solutions, AstraZeneca, Overstock, like we have Caterpillar, AbbVie, Chevron, like huge oil stocks coming out this week as well. Upwork, Dexcon, two ones that I actually want to watch as well, and same as T-Mobile. T-Mobile has been kind of flying underneath the radar, and it's been doing really interesting stuff on the stock side. And I think once they were able to come with Sprint and really kind of combine their powers, they're able to kind of get better one up on AT&T and Verizon, because Verizon, especially AT&T more in particular, is really just kind of bogged down by all their other crap that they have. Like it's not really a complete cell phone kind of like 5G play there. But I hope everyone's doing well. Alan as well. I came to chew bubblegum and look at some charts, and I'm out for bubblegum. I love it, Alan. That's Duke Nukem reference as well. Let's just kind of jump into something. Tesla price targets. We can look at that as well. It's been a while. I hope you're doing well. I am doing very well. Thank you, Orlando. Can you please take a look at SPY for the week? So let's just slide that over here and then look at SPY for the week. So SPY, of course, if you're not familiar with it, you get familiar with it. Making an all-time high just Friday, okay, all-time high, 440. It's been a crazy week because we had a pretty large dip down coming into Monday, right? And everyone's like, oh no, it's going to continue to crash, It's insane, right? And then seeing this huge pop up here is it's quite mind blowing. It's this week is it's going to be a lot of work. It's a lot of work, reading a lot, listening a lot, and understanding all that stuff. It's going to be quite insane. So if we're going to be looking at the week here, Orlando, let's just go to like the hourly chart to kind of give you a better understanding of where we could be going. Let me kind of just render this down. So for the week, the S&P 500 is looking for basically, again, we have a lot of stuff happening this week, 580, so $5.80. Or basically $6. Let's call it $6, right? So it makes it kind of easy because we're at 440. So $6 plus or minus where we're currently looking at. Again, that could go either further up or down from those projections. But the expected move is plus or minus $6 in the S&P 500. So that would be coming in. What's 440 minus 6? That's going to be for $434. So that basically kind of blows past the 34 EMA, but guess what? It comes right down to the 144 EMA, okay? So this doesn't matter. That's basically where that expected move could go. And we've seen it last week once it kind of came out of that little flush into that kind of sell-off that we saw, short-lived sell-off. That 144 EMA did come into some support here. Again, key what we're looking at here. We're looking at the hourly chart here, okay? Not the daily, not the minute. We're looking at the hourly chart because Orlando is asking about this coming week. That is basically, that's the downside. And then, of course, the upside is $6 plus 440 would be putting us at what? 446. Let's just call it right. Fat fingers, let's call that right there. So that would be to the upward band. So we're basically looking, that is the projection move here. So we zoom back out to the daily chart. That's not too much of a move, right? We continue going higher. It's really going to be limited on what the stock market is going to be doing. As of right now, we haven't seen too many pullbacks, so it's kind of really hard to look at the understanding of where we could see the potential market moves. Because again, earnings is really going to be driving this market. We talk about Apple, we have Tesla, Apple, and like Facebook, the Googles, the FANG stocks that people call. Those are really the market large movers. So yeah. It's going to be insane. Looks like Papa D, thanks for the $2. Man, I lost 80K on AMC calls. Oh, bro. That sucks. I'm not laughing because I've been there, done that. I didn't lose 80K on a particular call, but I've lost a lot of money on some things like that. Hope that wasn't too large of a capital intense there, but there. Let's look for some people are asking for Tesla. Yeah, of course, Tesla price targets. What's up, Kelly? Ryan, what's up, my man? What's up? Yeah, futures are futures aren't too much there, Ryan. I'm not gonna be looking too much into it. Interesting to see. You have the you're looking for a downward move, Perez? Orlando. All right, so Tesla, of course, this is the one that everyone's going to want to talk about. So the expected move for this week is basically $50 to like $55. So this thing is definitely going to move. Probably we don't know which way, right? Because there's going to be a lot of pent up information and trying to understand of how much this China kind of like defunding of some U.S. companies, and they're just kind of totalitarian way of just kind of switching, like doing an Uno reverse card in the sense of like, hey, we don't want capital now, or to be more of a capitalistic market, and then people are a little worried about it, right? Like it's a thing, like it really is. It's like we're seeing companies being slashed by 70% overnight because of that. Anywho. Don't want to go on a ramble on that. So Tesla, like we talked about, we looked at multiple different alerts on multiple videos. I think we did a video on Friday or whatever it was. Potentially looking for some downside support coming in around 600 to 590 would be potential that downward support there. Again, Tesla completely. It's like playing Russian roulette. You're putting one in the chamber and you're just gonna see on which way it's gonna go, especially with earnings, right? Because it's completely insane. And then looking for that upside to potentially break to that 700 range. Again, with the market going higher on Friday and then seeing Tesla doing next to nothing, is a little bit concerning. But it could just be people not really having the full love or the momentum that Tesla has had, because again, it's part of the S&P 500 now. It's not like it's like a wolf, like it's part of the wolf pack of the S&P 500. It's not a lone wolf anymore where it can kind of just do its own thing. It's really kind of it's been trained. It's got a shock collar on it. It is basically going to be somewhat on a leash here. So we're going to be looking at those potential price targets. To the upward side would be maybe trying to test 700, but we've seen that 700 or slightly just above it in the short term, not really getting past that, because again, we're seeing it multiple times, candlesticks just being continuously stopped down here and just being slapped down and not really seeing much of anything kind of fall through here. Barney Rubble. I totally forgot about that. It made me laugh. That's insane. Let's see here. Looks like looks like a lot of people are showing up today. Thanks, guys. Let's look at nickel is flying. I'm not too familiar with Nikki. That's the not, I was gonna say Chinese, Japanese. I have S&P 500 put on TM. For Ryan, fat fingers, TM, Toyota Motors. Yeah, this is the one I actually wrote this one down because you talked about it. I was like, it's a really good scenario there for I was going to say Tesla Motors, Toyota Motors. If you consider this like a flag pattern, like this is like the flagpole, and this is just kind of, actually, let me get the pen out here for you. Not Epic Games Launcher. Oh shoot, wrong thing. That's what happens when you click Epic Pen. All right, let's see here. Epic Pen launching. So basically what we're looking at here is this kind of flag pattern. Let's go with, what color should we do? I'm feeling a little bit of like a dark pink here. So this kind of upward pattern here is basically like your flagpole, and then like your flag pattern here. So I'm terrible at drawing, as you can see, and don't ever look at this in the sense of that. But basically, imagine this like being a flagpole, and like your flag kind of flying like this. Normally, you can call this like a descending triangle. You can call this is it a isosceles triangle? I don't remember. I forget the geometry there. But this is kind of coming in pretty strong into that 34 EMA here. I kind of put that a little kind of alert out, Ryan, at $175 or $174 basically, to kind of see if it does make its way back down there. Most likely it won't in the short term, because that 34 EMA has been fairly strong within that one. Looking for this one potentially to kind of go higher at these levels here, depending on the rest of the market, right? Dan, what's up, my friend? Happy Sunday to you as well. What about Disney? You know I love my Disney. I got my Disney shirt on, even though they don't have earnings this week. I bought Disney. I like Disney long term. I don't know what's going to happen with the overall markets and everything with the Delta variant and everything just continuously, depending who you're talking to, closing, reopening, shutting down, limiting, blah, 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 whatever those taglines are. So Disney, they had that huge boost higher. So remember when it hit like 200, Dan? Like everyone was like getting all psyched about like all these new contents they're dropping. They were talking about Loki. They were talking about all the Disney Plus content with Black Widow. You have the Star Wars series coming out. We have the new Mandalorian. We have a Boba Fett series. We have the Bad Batch. We have grand openings with it. We have the parks reopening and all this kind of stuff. And it was just kind of like, it went a little too fast, too high, really fast. Now it's kind of coming back down. like we just talked about the last one, like a flag pattern. I want to look at this one a little bit further, longer term, and looking at the weekly chart here. This is coming down beautifully around that 172 to 175 range, just coming down, bouncing multiple times, and just looking for that potentially just trying to hold here. Again, with earnings coming out, I believe it's the following week, right? Yeah. Oh no. Oh, it's not even until August. So August 12th. That this is something that you really need to be well aware of. Like, this is really going to be dictating again. People always kind of hint at ESPN Sports, or their sports broadcasting hasn't been making much money, but trust me, Disney's got their hand in every single cookie jar in the kitchen and in the universe. They're making a lot of money. It's just going to depending on how people value it, especially with again with the pandemic and everything came closing down. It got down to $80, but now it's made a pretty large recovery here. Really looking for this one to kind of hold and stay above at least 170 to 172. But yeah, that's something. Yeah, I loved WandaVision as well. That was really great. I like that a lot. A lot. I'm just looking if I missed anyone. Sorry, guys. IWM, great one, Russ. IWM, of course, is the Russell 2000 here. This one made a hell of a comeback. Just this week again. This thing was down pretty dramatically, right? Like this thing it dropped pretty harsh here, going past the 144 EMA here, making a pretty about face here, kind of getting back in line here, which we've seen it kind of in purgatory, just kind of bouncing around here. This is just something could be normal here. I did sell some puts at these levels here below the 144 EMA. Great little call for myself, a little pat on the back here. But then seeing this kind of bounce back higher here, but not really participating in the overall broader market again, because tech and like has been really kind of driving the growth story is coming back pretty harsh or pretty strong as well. You're talking about the Russell 2000. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this Russell, where it's just like the smaller financial mom and top, not the mom and pop banks, but like the more regional banks, more the infrastructure and just like the smaller, especially oil and gas energy stocks really fall in the IWM as well here in that index ETF. So looking at this one, I like it. I wanted to go higher. I'm actually in the position as well. I'm looking forward to kind of break above $222 here to kind of go upward here. But this thing has been somewhat in a rut here. I'm just kind of waiting for things to kind of catch up and kind of break out there. Yeah, that can definitely happen, Orlando, if you're looking for a pullback. K Thunder, what's up, my friend? Yeah, Z stock, that has been gangbusters. I kind of got into this one around that 110 level. Went up to basically my first target. Took a little bit off the table, but then came down really strong. I think it was right during my vacation. It was like at these levels here, and I just had auto orders set in, and I sold like half of it. It was just for a trade. But then looking at this further down, it came really strong into this week, and I believe it was Ryan or someone else within the Discord who were like, "Hey, look at Zillow." I'm like, yeah, that really came back where we wanted it to. Bounced pretty hard off that $100 price target. It's not completely out of the woods yet because we want to really get back above that 120 plus range, because this thing, again, just like a lot of the stocks that we've seen recently, has really been gone gangbusters here, and now it's kind of slowly coming back down. The housing market, if you own a house, or even if you're looking for a house or anything like that, it's insane. I've talked to multiple people all across the globe, especially here in the United States. If they're like, houses are going really fast. Like in my development here, you can sell your house within like 2 or 3 days, and then even with the Zillow estimate or whatever the estimate is on the higher end, you're getting $30,000-$40,000 potentially more on top of that, because there's just so many people building. So many people trying to buy a house. There's not enough new constructions for people to get into because there's such a backlog in it. So Zillow, also I like Zillow. It's kind of like a new play on the realting business, because I understand why there could be a realtor involved within the transaction, but I think zooming out 10 years from now, it's going to be a completely different exchange of how houses are sold and bought. So I like Zillow. I still like it. Love it a lot. Let's see here. It looks like it continued to go. I still want to talk about Piton. Was that you, Thunder? Love to get your thoughts on Piton. Yeah, that was kind of like a pandemic going back to thing. Again, like this thing has came really through quite a bit here. Had that huge sell-off into its last earnings, if you remember, because they had that recall on their treadmill. Again, they normally, if there's bad news, they want to get that out way before the earnings, or at least a week or a couple days, because then it's kind of like our brain dead monkey brains will just forget about it. And then that news comes out, they're doing much better, subscriptions are up, blah, 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 and they're projecting further out. As of that speaking here, we have some fairly strong support in the short term around 111 to 110. But if that starts breaking, that there's not really too much of a floor support, and it's kind of like an unknown zone down there. So that could kind of be somewhat hesitant down here. To the upside, we really want to see this back above 123 to 125. This has been getting those ranges there and just kind of getting smacked down and just continue to kind of not really get through that. So we're looking for some kind of momentum, some kind of catalyst that can kind of punch this one through the wall here and kind of break through like the Kool-Aid man, and kind of get that one going there for you. DD, I agree. I think Disney's going to blow it out with their stuff. They have the Jungle Cruise. Don't judge me. I'm going to go watch that with the wife this week. It's going to be a lot of fun. China stocks are getting, China stocks is not fun at all. It's very, very, very sad. And people just switching the tone like that. What's up, Fish? Can we look at Ford, please? Yes, Ford. We love Ford as well. Even though huge Tesla guys and gals here, I really like to see Ford. This thing did get pretty much clipped this week as well, but made a pretty okay significant comeback here. Not as much as I would like to see. It's still kind of somewhat downward trending here, especially with Ford. Again, we have the Ford Mustang, which is an SUV, which is within their SKU of EV cars. And then, of course, we have the new Ford truck, which is their Lightning division, where it's going to be making the Ford F-150 EV truck, which is I don't think you can't buy it, but you can do reservations, and there's been a lot of videos on YouTube on people doing a review on it, and they have been very positive on that fact there. So on that's been really fantastic on that front, on those potentially market movers that we're looking at here. That being said here, we can really see here that potential pretty okay support here around $13.50, so $13.50. Basically, why do we call that? That's a Fibonacci number here from the previous swing high to low. So we really zoom out to like the weekly chart here. This thing Ford has just been a really shitty stock for many years. Okay. The pandemic has really kind of revitalized and maybe gave a little bit of kick of adrenaline back into the stock here and really got the engines roaring, no pun intended, on Ford really kind of making a pretty strong comeback here, again, trying to get into a market leader within the EV space here. So looking for this one potentially in the short term, so around 1350, some stronger support coming in around that 12 to 1143 to the downside, especially that 1143, 1150 range has been pretty significant support. But with earnings coming out, I believe on Wednesday after the close, we'll see how this one performs. To the upside, I like this at $16 all the way to $20. I think those are some pretty reasonable numbers that Ford could reach if we continuously hearing some positive news on the EV adoption and more people buying into this. Because again, a lot of people are like, the Model Y is like $55,000-$60,000 car. Yes, the Model 3 is a little bit cheaper, on like $7,000 to $10,000 cheaper, depending on what version you buy. And the thing is, there's not many tax credits left for those Tesla models, but there are tax credits left for the Volkswagen, the Mustang, and things like that. So that could be. I'm not saying it's going to be moving anyone reasonable, but that can kind of help here. Ready for a crazy week for sure, Ryan. Yeah, we're gonna go rocket ship. Thank you, Kenny Thunder. Appreciate it. Yeah, we just looked at Zillow. Zillow, we're looking for some support to kind of. We have some that bounce play that we had there around 100, but we're really looking to kind of get back to that 115. Or sorry, was it one? Was it no 120 was the target we wanted to bring it above. It's coming into some support now here around 111 to 110, but we really need to see some more a catalyst to kind of push this one higher there. A.L. Franklin, good evening. I've been gone for a while. Welcome back. I like HMC also, Brian says. Honda. Yeah. I can see that. I'm not too familiar with a lot of their specs. Like I'm pretty sure they have like a electric Honda Accord, right? I see a lot of Honda Odysseys though, those soccer moms. It's kind of the same pattern here. It's kind of, if it does pull back here, we're going to be looking for some support, basically around 30 there, Ryan, initially. If Ford takes off, do you think that 17 will test by October? $17, so it's currently at, let's just call it higher 13s, which it's currently at. By October, the expected move is $2, and that might be a little bit of a stretch there. Maybe upwards of 15, maybe, if things do go plus pretty well for Ford. I think 1550 at least, if things go well. Johnny All Cash, what's up, my friend? CLV has been more room to drop, or I've been wet and ready. Yeah, I just looked at this one before the stream, and it's very much in a different category there, Johnny. I wish I could say the bleeding has stopped. We have earnings coming up very soon here in the like looks like the second week of August, so a bit like 2.5 weeks away from there. Definitely, potentially, you're really potentially going to be bumping up the support around that 8 to basically that 750 range potentially. That's something, again, could it continue to drop? Sure. I don't know what it could. This was very much, I want to call it market manipulation. It's more like it got onto that Wall Street Bets forum, and a lot of people got pumped up about it and really kind of ratcheted higher there and really made a pretty significant short squeeze. That short squeeze is dying off pretty hard here. And again, coming down to this level here. With earnings coming out, I just don't know too much about this fundamentally here, Johnny. If you have a better, like a conviction in it, like, you know, the fundamental story, excuse me, I just burped. The fundamental story, you know the business inside and out. You have to make a little bit more of a candid view on that. As of right now, if it starts breaking above 9, that's going to be a pretty significant level to the upside. And again, that next level would be basically around that $10.50 to around $12. Again, the market has been really kind of skewed by it because we've had seen this huge influx of volume coming in and seeing it really being pumped up to nearly $30 here. That's really kind of skews and messes with a lot of the Fibonacci numbers here. But as of we're looking at it now, it's kind of like I can't touch it, to be quite honest. Like if I have to point to, if you have some like a fundamental story behind it. Johnny's also asking about MMAT. Let's look at that chart. Is that Mattel? Okay, this is the one Alan's been talking about too. This was interesting because this was like going on to my vacation. People were talking about this before I left, and I was like, this seems a little too hyped up for me. It's just too hot to touch. It's coming down quite a bit here. I'm trying to familiarize myself with this. It is coming to some initially very not the most significant support around that $3 range. It's at $3.50 now, but it's around that $3 range, potentially looking for that to kind of hold. But this has come down such a quite bit. Just like looking at Clover, Johnny, this thing was so hot. There's just so much emotional and FOMO and just fear of missing out. And then now it's like regret. Take the Band-Aid off, stop the bleeding for me kind of scenario playing out here. I usually don't like to play into that field there. Would like to see this potentially kind of make a pattern like this previous move that we saw in February where it kind of came down pretty hard here. Not really, it found the 144 EMA here. It's kind of floating off here into something that we could not see. Let me scoot over here. Maybe it's bouncing off yeah, it's not even bouncing off the 200 EMA here. Maybe something a little bit higher number to kind of find support at, but well, maybe like to see this kind of level off here more and kind of trade sideways and kind of get some kind of a footing before it tries to make its move higher here. Wish is not looking good. I sold most of my positions, says Ryan. Yeah, I haven't. That's China. Yeah, like we talked about that. Remember we drew this box up here on one Sunday. We're like, hey, if it breaks above this line, it's gonna really go past here. But guess what? It did not want to do that, and it just came crashing down, and just no one gives a rat's ass about it right now. And it's just like continuously trending lower here, running into earnings. So I don't want to touch this one as well. Not a good unless you and I'm not really a person to short things as well. Russell's asking for BBBY. Yes, I like this one. I really do. We talked about it last Sunday. It's been kind of building a pretty nice position here. I had to look at the short interest for BBBY or Bed Bath & Beyond. They were cited by multiple firms on like, hey, this has gone from like a down to a hold or upgraded just so slightly. Looking for this one to kind of hold here above above $26 to $27, or sorry, $26.85 to basically $27 here. It does pull lower here in the short term. We're looking for some support around 25 here. But to the upside, really want to get past above 30 and really touch that $36 range. Like we just talked about the last couple stocks here, this has also been one that has been very heavily high short interest, right? And these market moves have been pretty outlandish here, and seeing these huge run-ups here in some of these stocks here. So it's very much kind of skewing the charts movement here pretty much to the T here. But we'll see if this one does come through. It is kind of building somewhat of a fairly nice base there, though. Fisher says if Ford brings back the dividend, it could move. Yeah, I think it definitely could. Brian says the Mach E looks terrible in my opinion. Have you seen it in person? Like I'm not really a Mustang person. I like the front end. The back end just seems a little, I don't know. It's a very hatchy kind of thing. Like I see what they were trying to do, the designers on it. Again, I'm not a design person at all, but I can kind of see what they were trying to do, kind of making it an SUV crossover kind of, but making it fast and like aggressive looking. But they should have gone a little bit more on the futuristic side, I think a little bit, because they were trying to keep those like wide, what do they call those? Those fender flares in the back, like in the older Mustangs. I actually like the new Bronco too. I don't like the people who drive them, though. If anyone drives a Wrangler, I apologize. Why do you wave to everyone else who drives a Wrangler? Can you please check CEMI? CEMI. Okay, this is a little bit too... Yeah, this is like a pharmaceutical stock or something. Very much huge chop here and just huge outlandish moves here that are really not my favorite cup of tea here. Looks like I had some kind of news last week. Look at that volume. Like that volume is not normal here. That's probably due to some kind of like clinical trial or some kind of data going there. It's gonna be hard, yeah. Bitcoin going up. Can we assume Tesla's going to go up on earnings? I wouldn't put it just because of that, honestly. Tesla has to prove a lot more things. I think the biggest unknown or the tunnel that we're looking at is basically looking at the premise of how big is this effect potentially going to be on China? And where the hell are we with the Berlin Gigafactory in Austin and so forth? And then where the hell is my Cybertruck, Elon? Where's the Cybertruck kind of scenario? So a lot of people are going to be asking questions, and we have to figure that out, right? Check out EXPGY. What is that, Ryan? EXPGY. Where do you find, expanding a PLC? I don't know what this company, what is this, right? Analyze. Is a Jersey-based global infrastructure service. The company provides business-to-business data, decision, and consumer. It builds and manages. Where'd you find this at? This is hilarious. Let me just do a quick fib here. Yeah, I think it could easily run into $45 plus there, because if it has that continuously steam going there. And the volume's not that high here for breaking to all-time highs as well. So yeah, I don't know what it does, but yeah, I'm always hesitant of those 5-letter stocks. That's just my weird personal opinion there. Alan, thank you for the $5. I know you have to watch your Rick and Morty and eat your pizza soon. GMG, German, I don't know how to pronounce that. Manufacturing Group is a Toronto exchange. Oh, it's on Toronto. I don't think the chart is in the deep. Wanted to know if you see anything long hold. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, it's not pulling up here. Shoot. I have to look up, again, I don't trade any stocks in the Toronto-based area or the Toronto market. I have to look that up. I'll look up the company, though. Let me write that down. Because a lot of the, if you remember, a lot of stocks do potentially can start in, where'd all my pens go? What kind of pen is it? Oh, it's one of those. Let's see here. GMG. Great. Fantastic go. And thank you, Alan, for the $5 as normal. Yes, China without a doubt. Let's see here. So people always ask, what the hell are you looking at, Ken? And what I'm really going to be looking at is just selling puts and doing some options trading for this week, especially for earnings. The one that is really kind of, we can kind of just go through a couple of them. Like we have Logitech, which I've been trading on and off. That's been a great hold during the pandemic here. Coming into some great stuff here. Not many people actually really look at this one as well. I really like this one. This is basically something that I see some support coming in here around 112. Make great products, right? Great long-term story. They make really great products. Like I'm using their keyboard, I'm using their mouse. I got their microphone, which I need to figure that out. I got their webcam, so you're seeing me kind of scenario here. Each time this thing comes back down to the like 144 EMA here, I just buy it, and I just normally just do like a short-term trading on it and kind of seeing it kind of move around in that range. So basically, if it does pull back, the last earnings it did kind of dip here the last couple times here. But sometimes it does blow out the quarter, right? And it does very well, especially the holiday season run up. Johnny All Cash is asking for SQ. Yes, love me some SQ and PayPal. I want to zoom out, just kind of do a quick look at SQ here for you, Johnny. Look at this move here, right? Insane in the membrane. Just kind of chopping around here a little bit, looking for some support coming through. Again, that has earnings coming out the first week of August here. Being mindful of like, hey, its all-time high is basically around 280-ish. We're about $20 off from where we're currently looking at here. But a $20 move in a stock like this is really, anything can happen, right? Looking at that level, being a little bit hesitant about it. We could see a pullback if we get anything kind of data coming out of like closures in the economy, locking back down, vaccines, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But kind of putting that aside and then looking at the charts here, if it does come back down to like 230 or like 220, those are going to be levels that I'm really going to be looking at to potentially selling some more premium in this one. This thing does move back. So look, it's a very choppy stock because even on its way up, it would cross to the 34 EMA and kind of go back here. It's kind of trading somewhat like a normal stock now because it's kind of holding that 144 EMA here and just kind of just doing its market move here and kind of seeing it somewhat chop around here. Again, if this thing went down to like, was it like $30 here just about a year and a half ago now? Like, yeah, it went to $32 here. It's made a pretty strong recovery here. In this kind of just base kind of like trading sideways is fairly normal here. So that 230 to basically that 220 range is going to be something I'm going to be looking at to potentially to buy if it does hold within those support ranges there. Is the market going to be crashing this week? I don't know. I really don't. If it does crash, it's probably going to be something to do with earnings or who knows, right? Like there could be a curveball coming out of left field and an asteroid killing us all. Who knows, right? What could really drive the market lower? I don't like to predict. I just want to look at the facts and then just react off of that. Yeah, I don't think the futures are going lower. Like we got the NASDAQ basically even, the ES is down just slightly. Like the RUT's down the most at basically 0.5%, but there's nothing really much moving here. Which again, it's Sunday night. There's usually not. I think we're kind of used to like 2020 market moves where we're seeing things move up like 1%, moving up 2 or 3%, and then coming down 4 or 5%. Like those are during really rough times, ladies and gentlemen. Greg, what's up, my friend? Thoughts on Microsoft pulling back after earnings seems to have a pattern of doing it in the recent history. I mean, like after the earnings comes out? Or before it comes out? Yeah, but it's made a hell of a move here, right? Like that's a hell of a move. I'm looking, it can potentially easily hit 300 here, but wow. So I have the earnings here. It did kind of come lower, yeah. This earnings here kind of popped up here, and this earnings kind of came down here as well. So yeah, like I like to say, like earnings is a coin flip. It really is. It just depends on the market mood, the market's mood it's in. Like is it in a sell mode? Is it in a buy mode? Is it optimistic? Is it pessimistic? Does it give a rat's ass? Is it on vacation? These kind of things here you have to really kind of look at here. For me, this has moved up quite a bit here, right? Even though if the earnings blow off here and we continue to go past 300, it's very hard for me to buy something well off its 8 EMA here, which is the pink line here, which we see it pretty high up here. That's a pretty far distance from that 34 to that 8 EMA here. That's a lot of money there that I could potentially lose here. I want to buy when it pulls back, when it kind of comes into kind of base here. So when you see it move, let's go like right here, okay? So this last earnings here, or 2 earnings ago, had a nice market move up here, right? Held the 8 EMA here. So the 8 EMA is something I'm not really going to be trading or kind of investing off of because it's a fast momentum kind of driven moving average because it's only 8 given trading days. Like I don't trade really that short a time frame. Like I'm looking for the 34, maybe the 55 or the 144 EMA here, potentially to look at those levels here. Again, with earnings, we know that a lot of things can happen here, right? Like this can just easily just continue to break out higher here, but it just for me, it's gonna be a rocket ship with me potentially not on it. Like I would be maybe looking at selling some premium on it, like playing into the earnings week here. But that's again, people's a little bit more risky on it because the expected move for this week for Microsoft is basically $10 here. So $10 up could easily put it to that $300 level. So let's put an alert on there, and then to the downside it would be on basically around the 280-ish range here, which is basically right below, probably going to running into like the 10 EMA or the 10 moving average, which a lot of other people use as well here. So that's basically the expected move for Microsoft this week there, my friend. Lion saying SQQQQ going to 15. Is that one of those leverage ETFs? What? I can see it. Yeah, if the market does go lower, this is going to get triggered, right? Fish says if Bitcoin goes ham, SQ will too. Very much so. Like if I know who was it? Kathy Wood, Elon, who else was on there? Oh my God, what's the guy's name? The Twitter guy. Oh my God, I can't think. Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey. They were talking about Bitcoin. Was it last week or something like that? Clearly, I'm not saying this is just driven by Bitcoin. They are kind of the headlines of like, oh, Square is just a Bitcoin play. Nah, it's a little bit more than that. I think it's more of like a new way of banking because again, they have their Cash App. You can buy stocks. You can easily send money. They have like their credit card or their debit card system as well. Like it's like a futuristic of banking. Like that's how I think of Square, PayPal, SoFi, those kind of companies as well. Yep. Thank you, Kelly. Yep. Yeah, Dorsey. Exactly. The guy with the beard. It's interesting character, right? Interesting character. Would love to have a coffee with him or a sandwich. Sandwich and a coffee. Yeah, interesting stuff, right? AMD, I'm surprised no one's asked about AMD. Like AMD's got earnings on Tuesday as well. This thing finally got back into that $90 range here. It's been a little choppy here with AMD here on where it's been going here. It's been just a very choppy stock, but we zoom all the way out to like a weekly chart here. The 34 EMA has been pretty significant in the last coming years here. So we're looking at a weekly chart going back 5 years. So we're looking at like 16 and 17 here. So this is the of 2017. So if you don't remember, I remember literally talking to someone in my office in 2017. I'm like, one of my hedge fund friends was like, my funds going into AMD hard, he said. I was like, what do you mean by hard? I mean, I was like, going short? He's like, no. They're going hard long. And I think they were buying like all throughout 2017 into 18. And they just let everything just ride. And they were just selling at these milestones here. I think they still have a core position in it. Like they're just like, it's just fantastic. Like, I don't want to disclose the name, but it's been really awesome for them. Did I take their advice? No. I liked AMD. I was trading AMD at $4, ladies and gentlemen. So just FYI. That's how dumb I am. So 34 EMA has been pretty significant here on the weekly side here. We did hit some chop here, kind of that movement here. With earnings coming out, we know it's like a really much of a coin flip here. We are looking for some initial support here if it does come down pretty hard around $82 to $85 here. And the upside levels we really need to break through is 95 and of course that $100 level. If we break through $100 levels, this thing could definitely take off and just take off like a rocket ship going into outer space here. Looking like a penis, like Bezos' shuttle there, the Good Shepherd. You can assume. I don't like to assume as well. Like I would like for it to go, but I have to let the market gods and the stock do its work here. And then I'm just a cat. I just trade. I just catch the waves. I don't control the ocean. If you go out to the beach and you see the waves and they're choppy and they're just complete crap, you just don't touch it, right? You want nice smooth waves. So we're like to see this one kind of potentially go higher here. Bitcoin is flying now. Yeah, it's up quite a nice chunk of change. Really nice here. It's at 3,800. Remember we talked about this? Who was it? Makeshift and Ryan, maybe even Alpaca was in it on the Discord. I was like, yeah, I bought Bitcoin. I bought Bitcoin just below basically that 30,000 range there as well. It was a great little move there. Very nice. I hold some Bitcoin. I just kind of trade it most likely, more of a momentum kind of stuff. Yeah. Ken, what do you think about Ben and Jennifer getting back together? Ben and Jennifer. I don't know who the. Am I missing the joke there? Who's Ben and Jennifer? Mm, the Bitcoin. That's a pretty market move, right? But it's cut. Look at what we're looking at. This is the daily chart. We're coming in right into some resistance at 38,500 ish range. The really level to kind of break out would be around 42,000 plus. Uh, oh, the Jennifer, what is it? Ben Affleck. Oh, I don't really follow that stuff, Fish, honestly. If you talk about sports or celebrities, I am completely, I don't know anything that's going on in that world. I am very much out of that loop. I was like, it's like Ben, I was thinking like like a stock. I thought you were talking about a stock. Yeah, with Bitcoin, 42,000 plus. If that really breaks above that, that's going to be that significant level and seeing it really kind of push higher in those ranges there. But as of right now, it's just kind of making a move higher here and heading that 144 EMA here. It's a pretty large move. It's a huge boost, gap up, like bolstering move, but nothing to really write home about until we start getting back above like that 42,000 plus. So that's what we're really looking for in that one there. Let's look at a couple more. Did Microsoft, did AMD. I wanted to talk about BA. So BA, talking about trying to get bad news out before you kind of go higher here. So looking for this one, especially BA, not so great news. There's been continuously issues with the Dreamliner, continuously issues with the Max plane as well. Kind of just getting back on its. They just want to continue. They just want to get back on the horse here and ride it out here. You can see that 144 EMA, which is that green line, has been pretty significant support. We did break that pretty harsh this week here, and kind of coming lower here. We want to get back and get our heads above water here, basically looking about 225 plus here, and really kind of seeing a breakout there. The earnings is coming out is, I believe, Wednesday morning. Yeah, Wednesday morning is earnings for BA, so that's going to be looking for that there. We do see it potentially, again, being a large catalyst of like the reopening kind of play or the epicenter kind of play, and really kind of seeing things can maybe potentially get back. And because, again, they've been battling with so many issues. The pandemic is just one of like 7 that they've been battling with it. And I want to kind of zoom this one out on the weekly chart here. This thing was like a $350 to $400 stock like years ago, right? And of course, that first plane crash really kind of took it out here. Took it out here, and then of course the pandemic hit, and it got down to $89 here, right? Insane, right? And it's been kind of slowly building its way back up here. Potentially looking for this one. If it does have any significant news, I'm actually pretty optimistic about it. I like this potential market move higher here. If it starts getting above 225, I have some targets looking at like 267 to 270 there. Alan, good night, my friend. Namaste. You take it easy. Enjoy some Rick and Morty and pizza as well, my friend. And thank you again for being a wonderful supporter and a great buddy within the Discord as well, and continuously sharing your ideas. I really appreciate that. I like people sharing. Anywho, that's what we're looking for on BA. Another one I wanted to talk about is T-Doc. Kathy Wood loves this T-Doc. That's the future, blah, blah, blah. This one, I want to kind of point this one out. We're looking still here on a weekly side. This thing has come down sharp, right? Like this was the pandemic kind of play. This is the future, blah, blah, blah. We're coming into that 150 to the 145 range. Those are pretty significant levels of support here. If this breaks lower here, this thing is going to be going into unknown territory. So we'll start seeing a break below 140. That could really go into Hades mode, meaning it just kind of starts sinking, going into a plane crash mode there. Zooming into the daily chart here, on the daily chart here, again, very much beaten down. We're talking about a high of $300 just this year, and it's been already cut in half here. Like, just obliterated, like just torpedoed and then just torpedoed and just torpedoed. This battleship is damaged. It is sinking. Its life preservers are already in the ocean. The sharks are going around the bows and the port side of it, trying to get any kind of food and stuff off this sinking boat here. But the saving grace is if it does perform fairly well in this next earnings, and gets a break, starts getting higher here, at least 160. Would love to see it break above 180 to 190 here, without a doubt here. That's just something that I would like to see here on the optimistic side, but I'm a little bit hesitant because, again, I think Teledoc is the future, without a doubt. I've used it multiple times for stuff. It's hard to give an evaluation on it, that's my opinion. US, it's asking for SNDL. Oh, yeah. Sundials. This was a huge pump and dump. Let's just call it what it is here. A huge market move higher here, with a lot of people getting on that FOMO bus here. More like a FOMO rocket, and just jumping into next dimensions here, going up to nearly $4 here, and then ever so been sinking down pretty drastically here, and getting lower and lower here, kind of getting a little bit of a bounce here, and just kind of continue kind of trending lower here. Not seeing it above $1 for quite some time here. Looking for some initial short-term support coming in around 72 to 70 cents there, but if that's breaking below that, that can easily start going back down to 60 cents to even that 50 cents marker there, my friend. Any call or put options that you have in mind for this week's earnings? Yeah, I want to be selling a lot of premium. So if you're not familiar with that, so I'm just going to be selling like pretty like outlandish, like maybe selling like a 17 to like a 20 delta, maybe even like a 10 delta, depending on how the stock moves. So, and it's selling like a put, and then maybe buying a put higher up and things like that. Maybe selling a premium, but I'm not going to trade it directionally. Like I just want to kind of collect that premium off of that. I'm not going to lie. Facebook on Friday reviewed my account. I don't know what that means, Samuel. What were you posting? Franklin, Ken, did you do Tesla when are earnings? What's up, Franklin? Tesla has earnings on Monday, so tomorrow. Tomorrow after the bell. So again, this one is gonna be a crazy one. We know that one, Franklin. It's gonna be insane in the membrane, and basically seeing a pretty large catalyst. Again, it's gonna. When's the Cybertruck coming out? What's going on in China? how's the government working with you? How is the stuff going in the Gigafactory? What's going on with Austin's factory? What is going on with the Tesla truck? Not the Cybertruck, but the semi-truck. When are we going to see the Roadster? How many cars you're selling? All this kind of stuff. It's going to be kind of coming into play with Tesla. And the expected move for Friday or the whole week is basically $50 to $55 here. So we're going to be looking for some support basically coming in around 590, and then some upward marks basically around the 690 to potentially 700 if it does run quite a bit there. And usually the earnings comes out after the bell, but Tesla usually comes around like 4:15 to 4:30 range. It's Eastern Standard Time. Thunder's asking for Tiger and FU. I'm going to be a little hesitant on those, my friend. K Thunder. These are both been something that is very much these fintech kind of stocks here. This, especially Tiger, is coming into some support here around that $16 range here. If we start breaking below that 1590 to 1550, that thing can easily, if it doesn't find any support, it can easily run back down to $12 to even $10 here. I'm a little bit really kind of like worrisome about that one. And same with FUTU holdings here, basically same kind of pattern here. We start breaking below this lower band here, which is basically that 124 to 125 range, and really seeing that kind of break lower here, that really could easily break to 100 to even that $100 range pretty dramatically here. But to the upside, it's been very choppy here, right? We're looking for maybe that 150 to 140 push there. Johnny Allcash says, can you make a video on how to sell a covered call or put in TOS? I like if I have 100 shares on Ford, and then are the steps to sell a call on Ford test, assuming I'm approved to. Yeah, I don't trade in Thinkorswim. I don't even think I have the capital to buy Ford, and I think there's only maybe $200 or $300 in this account. But what I could do for you, Johnny Allcash, we can just do this in my Tastyworks account. So looking at the position here, Ford, this is like my, what is this account? This is like my BS account. I think this is like my Bitcoin account maybe. So I don't own too much in this here. So let's say you buy 100 shares of Ford, right? And then you want to sell some premium against it. Normally, you want to sell premium within like 30 to 45 days out. So if you buy 100 shares, so if they're trading at 14, or in this case, $13.94, that would cost you $1,394 to buy. But if you wanted to sell some premium on it, you can sell like the 15 call going out in August. You would get back basically 25-ish plus dollars. That's what I'm looking for to potentially kind of see here. So you can kind of see your breakdown. Of course, your max profit is only $135, but again, you can always get rid of that call, or you can push it out and so forth. If you're looking on how to do that within TOS, I am not. It's a little bit more complicated in TOS. So when you're going into like the August time frame and you want to sell something, so we're talking about that $15 thing, you want to set that limit here depending on if you have the shares already. You want to make sure you just hit that bid sign, so you hit that sell price, and you want to make sure, of course, if you hold just 100 shares, you'll only sell one call basically against it. But if you hold 1,000 shares, you can sell, of course, 10 calls against it. So it kind of goes to per 100 levels there. And that basically, that's how you would look at. You would just confirm and send that as well. I think you could probably stag that as like a whole trade itself here. But yeah. Let's see here. And then V's asking for Fastly. Whoa. Haven't heard that one in a minute. And this one, of course, this thing was insane in the membrane. So if you remember this one, SPAC blew up. Again, this was like the TikTok like provider here. Did next to huge market moves, very much FOMO, came crashing down here. Looking at the fib numbers here, it has had a lot of issues getting back above $58 here. But in the short term, what we're really looking at here is some levels of resistance around $58 to $40 here. And it's kind of just stuck in that range here. With earnings coming out on the first week of August here, very mindful on how that could be presented here. It looks like the last earnings was pretty much a pretty large downfall here. Again, I'm not too familiar with the business model as of Fastly as of right now, but I know I was covering it a little bit when it was a lot of like momentum trading behind it here. This one, very much just kind of stagnant, very much looking for some kind of catalyst. You have to have the more of a fundamental understanding here to kind of trade this one. Thunder's asking for any leaps that you would recommend. leaps that I would recommend. I don't. Right now, with earnings this week, it's going to be very difficult for me to kind of like recommend anything I'm looking for here. So I'm going to be pretty busy here on that sense. But some long shots that I'm taking here with very small risk. Again, keyword smaller risk here. I can look at some stuff that I was looking at. I had, let me pull this up. Let's see here. Some more of the riskier stuff, of course. I did buy Disney Leaps on the dip when it hit below the 170 range here, or hit the 144 EMA here. I did buy here on the dip here. Bought some Leaps here, and the way I like to buy Leaps, it's a little bit different than others. I buy them pretty deep in the money because I want to kind of honestly create like a synthetic stock position within like the position. So looking at those Leaps there. Some of the ones that I was looking at was actually CCL. I bought Leaps in that on the dip here. I actually bought them in actually on this day. I remember it was like I was coming back from vacation and I bought some basically right before that market moved down here. I think I bought it around like it was right below $20. Maybe it was like 20.50 or 20 or almost 21. It's basically right below, like it was like 20.75, I believe. I bought some Leaps in those just because they kind of play in that recovery play. And at the same time, because again, like I just came back from vacation, I bought some Jets, which is the ETF for all the airlines as well. I bought some, but again, I'm buying it deeper in the money. So when I'm buying these, I'm buying it pretty much like the 75 plus delta, if you know what that means. What's your risk tolerance for Chinese stocks? Very low, Thunder, honestly. Like I've traded NIO, I've traded Alibaba, I've done all these things in those stocks, but I can never build a large position like I have like in Disney or like Tesla or what else? Costco, these waste management. I can't build a large position like I have in those in like a stock like something within the Chinese market, just because of all the crazy things that can happen. And the thing is, I love money and I don't like to lose money. So, yeah. I usually get at the money Leaps. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, Thunder. It's all what it comes down to the way you want to do it. If you're just kind of like, when I buy Leaps, I'm looking for like some kind of like potential catalyst that can really make the stock move pretty fast within the next like 2 or 3 months potentially. And I want to get that higher delta so I can get that larger move in that stock there. But for example, Alibaba or BABA or what I call blah blah, this thing is just insane in the membrane. This thing is just in a very weird class here of how it's been trading here. It's really much just been chokehold here and just been continuously dragged down here. It's finally broke below that 212 range. If it starts breaking below 200, I think this can easily break back down to 190 to 186 if we continuously start seeing some more negative notions coming out there via the Chinese government or their agencies restricting capital investment and so forth. Leanne says, where do you live? I live in Virginia. I'm about 45 miles, maybe 43 miles west of Washington, D.C. Bam-ba-doo. You got any more questions? I'm going to call it a day here because I do have to go into work tomorrow. Yes, Alpaca, we got a shit ton of earnings, my friend. We got a shit ton of earnings. Lot of stuff. We didn't even cover half the stuff that I wanted to cover. Like, no one talked about it. Let's look at Amazon. I'm gonna start going through some stuff that I want to look at real fast and kind of just look at where I will be looking. So Amazon, of course, we had Jeff Bezos with his Dick shuttle go into space here. Amazon really, it's been somewhat stagnant for the past couple months, but it's been finally breaking out here because it did. I think the biggest thing, even with Bezos going to space and back here, the biggest thing that people that maybe didn't really quite follow is he said multiple times, I stepped away from Amazon. I stepped away from Amazon. I'm no longer the day-to-day business. I'm focusing on Blue Origin. I'm focusing on renewable energies and pollution and making the earth a cleaner place here. He said nothing about Amazon. So if anyone is just totally hesitant of like, is he going to stick his finger back into Amazon and kind of control some buttons? Most likely not, from what he's saying. I'm sure he's following things on a weekly basis, or some lady or some guys giving him updates, but it's not going to be the same kind of scenario there. But I like Amazon though. Coming down to some support here around $3,500 would be a nice little move here. Why would you invest in fundamentals? What's my thoughts on Eli Lilly? Oh no, ELY. Oh, Callaway. Oh, I actually like this one. This is again reopening play. There's a Top Golf in my area, so I wonder, I should look on how they're doing there. Seeing this one kind of come back here. This has hit that $30 level, which we talked about pretty hard here, bouncing higher here. I'm really looking for that $30 to kind of hold there. When is the satisfactory stream coming? I don't know, Alpaca. Do people want to watch me play games? I'm not that kind of dude. What was the last stock I bought? That's the last like stock or options I traded, because I trade quite a bit here, I can tell you. Disney. No. XLC. I sold some XLC. I had XLC. I bought it this week. I bought the dip at 34 because this thing has been a beautiful trading. Look at this chart. It breaks the 34 EMA and just bounced back. And that's the same thing I did. I just bought like 5 calls down here on like a 30-day basis and just sold half of it on the way up. Pretty nice, right? Ken bought the diet stock. He sold the pizza stock. I'm watching what I'm eating. HEPS. Has anyone played New World? Speaking of Amazon, we were just talking about, they have that MMO action RPG coming out there. It looks pretty sick. D-Market Electronic. I don't know what this company is, dude. This thing's just flat out new here. Not too much we can look at here on the stock side. Of course, on the candlesticks here, not really much going on here. Very stagnant here. I can't really add too much there, my friend. AK is asking for PayPal. This thing, of course, been gangbusters here. We talked about the $300 level. It's finally been met. Going to earnings this week. I believe it's on Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday after the bell here. It has earnings. Potentially a large market move with this one. Again, the expected move is nearly $18 to $20 here, plus or minus here. So it is a little bit too, I don't like to buy something. I own PayPal. I've owned PayPal for a while here, but it's coming into its previous high here. So if we see this level here, that February high here, and now we're seeing it kind of come into here. That doesn't mean it's going to come crashing down because of its previous level here. It's just a little cautious. Maybe we'll see some potential people just kind of trimming some stuff and being a little bit more hesitant. Maybe come back down to 300 to 305 here, potentially, before it makes its move higher here. I don't know what could happen, but it is definitely been doing fairly well here. For me to even start looking at it to do anything, maybe sell some premium on it, it needs to get back down to the 34 EMA or even back down to the 144 EMA here. That is something that I am definitely looking for to that side there. But to the upside, this thing is really looking fairly strong here, and it's got a lot of tailwind to kind of push it higher here. Rob's asking for FUV. Yeah, this thing has still pretty high short interest, right, Rob? I want to look at this really quick. This is usually a good one to kind of do like a fib. Oh, come on now. Boop. Yeah. So initially looking for some support here around 13.30 to around like that $15 range here. But if it does run, we would like to see this back above $20 here to the upside here. But with that short-term support coming in basically around $14 to around $13.50 is potentially where it could be looking at. Looks like there's potentially earnings coming out the mid of August here, so be mindful of that here. But this thing does have pretty high short interest still, if I remember right. Hey Ken, what do you think about Apple could go into the next couple of days? Probably good earnings, but either way, we'll see a pullback or further run. Apple, I like Apple long term. Again, on a weekly basis, and especially on an earnings week, you're really just going to be trying to just playing the probability. So the probability for Apple's market move for this week is plus or minus $6. Let's just call it $7 to be on the positive side. So $7 where it's currently kind of trading at would be potentially looking for 155 to the upside. To the downside, we're potentially going to be looking for around 141 to 140 range, which kind of falls into that 34 EMA. Apple has been very strong in the past like 2 or 3 weeks here, and really seeing it kind of trying to rip higher here. I think with a good earnings, it can easily potentially go gangbusters here and maybe reach some levels that I have here around 160 here. But that would take quite a bit here to kind of get that market move higher. Because again, we're talking about a 2 trillion market cap stock here, right? So it's going to have a lot of earnings to kind of back up these moves here. Potentially, if it does pull back here, we're going to be looking for around the 140 to potentially even the 130 range, depending on what exactly happens within Apple here. Thunder's asking for coin. I've been looking at coin, so coin is something that I'm looking at on a week-to-week basis here. If we start seeing it start breaking below 215, that could be interesting, but it's a fairly new stock. I like to see these kind of stocks have 2 or 3 earnings come out before I really touch it, because you want to kind of flush out all those people that play the emotions on it. F5's asking for CCIV. Yes, talking about EV stocks. We've got Lucid Motors here. This is switching soon, right? It's been somewhat stagnant here, kind of holding that $20 to $25 range here, which is fine. Really, again, this chart really skews this up, so if we can kind of erase this kind of part over here, it really kind of messes up, because that's extreme FOMO really kind of kicked in that range there. Seeing it kind of just peter out here and kind of trade sideways. I don't remember the complete deal on what was going on with how it's going to be taking Churchill Capital into Lucid Motors and how much they're going to be getting a percentage of it. I think it was like 10 or 15% of the company or something like that, right? If someone probably knows it better than I do. But this SPAC has got pretty much beaten up here. Maybe trying to find a base here around that 144 EMA there. Alan, what's up, my friend? And what indicator times do you use? Thanks. And what indicator times do you use? So you talk about the charts. So it's usually the daily chart and then like a weekly chart, which is anywhere from 3 to 5 years. Those are the times that I use the most. You could do so much off a daily chart. I don't touch the minute charts, the 5-minute charts, 15-minute charts, 30-minute charts, maybe the hourly chart, and maybe the 4-hour chart. But I don't do much of any. I don't go too fine-grained into those minute charts. Kelly D says, I've been sipping whiskey tonight. You're looking a little blurry. Oh, God bless you, Kelly. Ken, have you invested in any genomic stocks? Buy and hold? Not really. I wanted to get into like what's it? The ARKG fund. It's kind of leveling off here. I think Kathy Wood does a pretty good job here. I think that her 15 minutes of fame has definitely come and gone somewhat because of the crazy that we saw in 2020. It doesn't mean anything against her. She's a bad trader or bad investor. It's just like, hey, you really killed it out of the park here, knocked it out of the park here. But yeah, definitely something. I would rather own like an ETF of these genomic stocks, honestly, Paul, rather than one individual, because reading about all these different things and how they interact with each other is just quite insane. Like, I don't have a degree in any kind of this biological understanding of what people are really doing and how much certain companies are pushing the envelopes. Blue, hey, what's up, my friend? Coin is going to fly tomorrow. Definitely coin's going to fly with Bitcoin being up. Thanks for answering the questions about CCIV. I gave you a like, by the way. Thank you, F5. I appreciate that. High five. Have you gone over Shop yet? No, we have not. Let's look at Shop. So this, of course, has been one that did very well during the pandemic. Been very much choppy here. So let's go to the weekly chart here. Very well, right? Again, 2020. Bleh, took a poopy here. Excuse me. Then made a large recovery here. Continue to climb here and just really going out gangbusters here. People are really kind of comparing this to like an Amazon, and it's just like taking out the market here and just doing a fantastic job. I never built a Shopify site. I don't know if I'm pretty sure I bought stuff from a Shopify site. I don't know what to really look for, but people who use it and the things I've read is absolutely insane, and people love it. It's just a stock that people just go crazy about, and people who, it's not just for drop shipping. Like, that's the thing. It's like a lot of people got hung up on, because if people don't remember, we got our boy at Citron report, which they don't do their short reports anymore. They went after Shopify when it was like at $300 or $200 here, right? And now it's at a $1,600 stock. Like, right? It's funny. I think this thing can easily go flying here. It's moved quite a bit here, honestly. Blue, a little bit too much for my liking. I like to get things at some lower levels here to kind of move here, because it's above the 8 EMA here, which is not usually my favorite cup of tea. I meant the other time averages. You're talking about the EMAs. It's the 8, 34, and the 144 EMA. Yeah. It's on whatever chart it is. If it's on the daily chart, on the weekly chart, it's always the 8 EMA, 34 EMA, and the 144 EMA. I kind of dumb it down for the live stream in the sense of some of the indicators. My indicators are pretty diverse here. Like, as you can see here, this is too much. A lot of people don't like to see this. I've looked at this probably hundreds of hours, so I know what I'm looking at. But I kind of do it to this version here to kind of give a little bit a more simplistic kind of look to it. Do you think Becky and all Canadians just buy the King stock valuation, in my opinion, way high? I don't know what that means, Thunder. What do you think about AMD? Will it go over 100? Robert S., I really do hope it does. I do own AMD, but earnings is a coin flip, right? We'll never know. We don't know. We don't know on how this would be moving or trending. The expected move for this week is basically plus or minus $6.50 to $7 here. They could potentially touch it, but I think there's a lot of pent up demand to potentially see it go back up 100 or try to touch 100, because it never really went above 100. It could do it. I think it's time. I really do hope so. It does. Paul's looking for MGA, looking for a double bottom potentially. MGA. A double bottom for what? I'm not seeing it here. On the weekly chart, is this kind of breaking lower here and maybe starting a downfall on the weekly chart. The daily chart, same as well. Huge gap down going to Thursday into Friday here. Huge volume as well. So that's usually something I want to kind of wait. And we're seeing this huge skew of volume here. Could it go higher? Sure, why not? It has earnings coming out. It must have dropped some kind of news or some kind of data right before earnings to kind of get the bad news out here. But yeah, this is definitely something that I want to be a little bit more cautious about because again, it's still kind of trending lower here. As you can see, the moving averages, the 834 are pointing towards the ground here. They're not parallel, other than they're not trying to start curving back up. A little bit more hesitant on that one. I'm not sure what you mean by the double bottom here. SPOT, yeah, so spot. Of course, this is the people that always try to get Joe Rogan canceled. This kind of market move here, very choppy here. This one always is like underperforming and just not really doing well. His last earnings dropped quite a bit here. Earnings before that was very chop, and the earnings before that was pretty down and gap down. So this one is definitely a coin flip, and I really don't know the catalyst that could be going on here with Spotify. I really don't. I don't know deep down. You're welcome, Blue. Alan's asking about, thanks for the info on the EMAs. Can you discuss on the importance of each? Thanks. Sure. So let's just go to one of my favorite stocks, and of course is Tesla. Maybe not the best example here. Let's look at, what is something I like? Disney's actually consolidating to Costco. Let's look at Costco. Perfect, right? Costco, all-time high on Friday. Everyone loves Costco. I love Costco. You love Costco. So the 8 EMA, Alan, is going to be your momentum's indicator. So it's clearly Costco has been on a tear here. It has not even broken past the 8 EMA here, meaning it's just a high flyer. People are just throwing money at it. But once it does break and close below that 8 EMA, it could fall down pretty fast here. So another EMA I kind of use as well in the daily chart, Alan, is the 21. That kind of helps me potentially catch a short-term bottom if it does break through the 8 EMA. I kind of use a 34 for this example here. The 34 has been pretty significant for me on the daily chart. I've used for a while now, and really kind of helping me set the trend within that 30 to 45 to 60 days possible here. So if we start seeing a stock kind of huge market move higher here and just kind of just trade sideways, and lets the larger moving averages kind of catch up here. I love that pattern. I love that pattern. That turns me on, and that just gets my money, makes me throw money at the stock. At the same time here, the 34 EMA, of course, is a larger number. It takes more days to kind of convert back here, but that thing is also at a pretty steep, like almost a 45-degree angle here. The 144 EMA here as well, the moving average here, is a little bit more significant on when you start seeing stuff of like, oh, things are overbought or oversold. Usually when people start saying that, it's usually around that 144 EMA or the 200 EMA. Both kind of the same kind of scenario here. I have the 200 EMA here, and I have the 144 EMA here to kind of isolate that. To potentially, if a stock's in between that zone, people are saying it's overbought, it's oversold kind of scenario. It's oversold, and it's potentially a buying opportunity. Not always, but those are the levels that I'm looking at. The 8 EMA, I usually don't really trade off anything like that because it's just a very fast momentum-driven stock. So that's basically that, and that in a nutshell there. Hopefully that was helpful, Alan, and I hope that was helpful for everyone else who tuned in for this fantastic live stream. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Really do appreciate it. I will hope to see you soon. Please go ahead and just join the Discord. We always have a good time chatting there about Costco snacks, stocks, video games, anything. Great TV shows as well. And yeah, just come on by, hang out, share your trade ideas. Really great vibe going on there. So yeah, check that out. Again, we'll probably do a video sometime this week, kind of doing like a halftime report for all the earnings coming out as well, and kind of giving a guidance update on what I'm looking at and what potentially could see midweek. We do have earnings coming out tomorrow, of course, with Tesla. Really being mindful about all those earnings coming out and just not going crazy and going ham and just trying to make your $10,000 overnight by buying out of the money calls for Tesla or something like that. Just don't be don't do anything stupid like that, right? Just don't risk your whole capital. The whole point of investing and trading is to be there tomorrow. Like you don't want to be putting in large skews of capital and just kind of wasting it and tearing it away. But anyways, thank you guys. Thank you, ladies. Catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.